How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome to Root Double Before Crime After Days. This is a visual novel from like 2013, at least on PC release, I believe, so not new. This is a visual novel I've been wanting to play on the channel for a very long time. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. The main reason I want to play it is because it's by it's directed by Takumi Nakazawa, who is a member of 2Q Games and also helped write Remember 11 and Ever 17 and those kind of games. He's a big deal as far as writing and that sort of stuff goes from these classic visual novels. So this is the one major one that's available on Steam that I've wanted to get into for some time. It is a big, long, chunky one, so we're going to be at this for quite some time. But it's been too long since we played a good mystery visual novel, so let's get into it, shall we? Okay, I don't know what any of this means. 9 souls are trapped in Labo, Nintendo Labo. They attempt to escape the facility in the face of that hopeless situation. However, reality sneers at those struggling to survive. At the limits of fatigue and anxiety, and death looming over them, something lurks in their hearts. Is it the courage to never give up, or can they cleave a path to the future with their own hands? So we get to pick our route right off the bat. Or this one here. Before or after. Oh, I see. Route name before, route name after. Surely before would make more sense, wouldn't it? If we're doing it like chronologically for our understanding everything. A certain accident traps children in Labo, whatever, Labo, a nuclear research facility. It is then that the boy is caught up in a mysterious phenomenon. He finds himself recalling the past as if he were reliving it. A strange phenomenon indeed. He soon watches once again as a trivial incident causes his peaceful days to collapse. What awaits him at the end is a shocking, cruel truth. Can the past be rewritten? Alright, let's, I don't know, man. Let's start with before, I guess. I hope I'm making the right decision here. The roar echoed through the laboratory at daybreak, as if it were a bell heralding the end. I'll switch off the voice, seeing I'm going to be doing the voicing anyway, so I'll just switch off the voice and I'll bring you back. Alright, we are back. There's not much point putting the Japanese voice on, because I'll voice over it anyway, and then I'll be interrupting them, and that'll be rude, and you know, some people like to listen to these rather than watch them, so, you know. Let's carry on, shall we? The boy gasped in shock. The girls screamed beside him. They felt the tremors through the floor. Explosions? Several of them. Natsuhiko, could this be? The boy, called Natsuhiko, gritted his teeth at the girl's words. Yeah, it is. We didn't make it in time. His words were drowned out by the shrill shriek of an alarm. Well, you don't want your atomic laboratory to be on fire. That seems like a bad idea. A calm, automated voice read out an announcement. Security has shifted to evacuation mode. All gates barring those leading to Area N have been opened. All personnel, please calmly evacuate to the surface levels. Everyone seemed to be confused by the fragmentary information. What happened? I don't know. Were those explosions? Explosions? In this facility? The announcement continued as if to answer that question. This is an emergency broadcast. Explosions of unknown origin have just occurred within the facility. From our current understanding of the situation, explosions occurred simultaneously in 10 different locations inside the facility. Fires have broken out as a result. Researchers Iriguchi and Kashiwagi, Please come to Area 2, post haste. Explosions in 10 different locations? Unknown origin? What do you mean, unknown origin? As the men shuddered, a female scientist muttered, "It's okay. This facility is equipped with layers upon layers of disaster prevention systems. No matter what happens, it shouldn't escalate to a large-scale disaster. Our safety is guaranteed, there's no need to worry." She spoke softly and gently to quell their fears with hope. But that hope was trampled soon enough. The sprinkler system's not working? Why? Damn it, hurry up with the personnel evacuation. The systems that were supposedly their last ray of hope proved to be completely ineffective. Of course, they've even confirmed fires in the factory. The equipment undergoing development's going up in flames now. You've got to be kidding me. Do you even realize how much it costs to develop that? We can't let it go up in flames. Put it out manually. There's another fire breaking out in Hall 4. Who can extinguish the flames if nobody can even reach the factory? Chaos and hysteria dominated the facility. Anxiety began to spread. And, as if to top it all off, a new announcement rang out. Heightened readings confirmed in Area N. Emergency shutdown systems has been initiated. All personnel, including those in Area N, control room, please evacuate to the surface levels immediately. The moment the announcement ended, the silence shifted to sheer panic. Heightened readings? Let's just go to the surface level for now. To the remote control room. This elevator's no good. Use the stairs. The stairs! Everybody shouted their lungs out. Administer AD. Or AD? We got emergency stockpiles of it, don't we? Administer AD. I've never thought we'd actually need to use it. Don't panic. Just follow the manual. They did their best to adapt to the situation. But it was all too late by then. The emergency staircase had collapsed. All the elevators are offline too. There's no way out. Impossible. How did this happen? Their escape routes were cut off. And they had no way of knowing why. Nobody understood what was going on. Nobody with a few exceptions, that is. Natsuhiko and the girls stared at the collapsed staircase in exasperation. Damn it, this is all they're doing. How could the situation have gotten this bad? What do we do now, Natsuhiko? The girl beside him grieved. Just how much time did they have left? As he pondered that question, the boy looked at his watch, but to his dismay, one of the explosions had broken it. The watch's date had stopped at 9:16, its hands at 6:19. A time he'd likely never forget for the rest of his life. If only we'd gotten here just a little bit sooner. But even if they were late, there was still meaning in their arrival. Natsuhiko tried to walk off, but the girl grabbed him by the hand. Hold it, Natsuhiko. Where do you think you're going in a crisis like this? I'm gonna find those bastards. Wait, Natsuhiko, you don't mean... I'm gonna put an end to their plan. I can still do something. No, you can't, Natsuhiko. Calm down. Why? You agreed that we should come here, didn't you, Masahiro? Mashiro. Let's go with Mashiro. The situation's completely changed. It's too late now. It's never too late. I'm sure I can still make it. Besides, even if we do run, it's not going to change anything. So in that case... The moment those words left his lips, a sharp pain ran through his cheek. The girl had slapped him. Do you want to suffer another loss that badly? Those words gouged out his heart. And then another roar rang out. Another explosion? Where? Please, Natsuhiko, let's get out of here already. The girl's pleading voice shook Natsuhiko's heart. Okay, let's look for a way out of here first. And thus they ran, looking for an exit, without knowing what lay ahead of them. And thus the long day that they'd look back at into time and time again had begun. Let's look for another staircase. There has to be a safe one somewhere. Do you know the layout of the facility? We should look into that first. It's dangerous to run blindly without an escape plan. Salyu, what are you doing? I'm looking up a map of the facility. I think that last broken staircase we saw was the outer ring emergency staircase. Looks like there's an inner ring emergency staircase nearby too, huh? Okay, so let's head there first. Fire? How could a fire break out here so fast? Don't tell me it was set here to prevent the people from escaping the facility. It's too dangerous here. Let's look for another path. I'll go check if the path to Area 2 is safe. Roger, be careful. They ran with all the courage they could muster to escape from the facility and survive. But in the midst of their path... Huh? He ran into her. Yuri? There stood Yuri. The girl who lived in Natsuhiko's home. The girl who was supposed to be waiting for them at home. The girl who shouldn't have been here. What's Yuri doing here? Natsuhiko gazed in her in astonishment. Yuri? Why did you come here? Sadly muttered this. What about you, Yuri? Why are you here? You left home? As he asked this question, Natsuhiko thought back and recalled the journey that brought him here. Eventually, Yuri spoke in a lonely voice. So that's what happened, and smiled as if a weight had been taken off her shoulders. At that moment, a flash flickered right beside them. Yuri? Natsuhiko swiftly lunged at Yuri, and not a second later a shockwave struck them. Natsuhiko and Yuri were blown away. In the split second before they hit the ground, the events that had led up to today flashed before Natsuhiko's eyes. How did this happen? The answer lied in his memories. It all began that fateful day. 6 days ago. September 10th, 2030. Back before anybody had even expected things would turn out this way. Back when everything was still peaceful. Eventually, in the deep depths of his fading consciousness, awake, a voice called to him. Or perhaps it was merely a memory of such a voice. He heard that voice as he lay beneath the whitewashed tomb. And then time began to move. When Natsuhiko woke up that day, he found himself on his own bed, which was only to be expected. He'd always slept and woken up in this room for as long as he could remember. He got up and put on his glasses he'd set aside and stretched his arms out wide. He felt as though he'd awoken from a worrying dream, but he couldn't remember what it was. A cursory look at his watch showed it was 9:10. At 6:19, his watch was perfectly measuring the flow of time today, as usual. Not even once had it broken these past 10 years. He climbed out of bed, changed into his uniform and left his room. Once he entered the living room, he heard some light humming coming from the kitchen. Good morning. Once he called out to her, good morning. The one humming cheerfully replied. The newscaster on TV was rambling in an odd and a matter-of-fact tone of voice. Next on the news, early this morning, Rakume City's BC Training Centre received objectionable literature from an extremist group. A connection to the recently held BC seminar was also identified. The police are now working with the city security department to... Natsuhiko casually let the news in one ear and out the other, thinking to himself, almost time for her to wake up, huh? As soon as that thought crossed his mind, he heard the living room door open. Good morning, Yuri. Hinkorin, Mashiron, good morning. Yuri sank onto the table as she muttered the nicknames she had for those two. And right around that time, the other girl came out of the kitchen. Good morning, Yuri. Breakfast is just about done. Brightly sounding the morning meal call was Mashiro, Natsuhiko's childhood friend. Yuri was about to fall back to sleep before Mashiro's voice woke her up. Yeah? Food? Yay, food time, food time! What's on the menu today? Hash browns, bacon and eggs, salad, omelets and orange juice. For breakfast? Damn, that sounds awesome. I want to have breakfast at your house. A classic all-American breakfast. Wow, starting the day off with a full meal, huh? Looks delicious. Now then, boys and girls, put your hands together. Thanks for the food. And thus, they began their breakfast as usual. Yep, it's delicious, just like you'd expect from Mashiron. Yeah, it's amazing how you can make all this in such a short amount of time. I'm just used to it, I mean, I've been doing this for over half a year now. Over a year. Mashiro gave an embarrassed grin upon being complimented. Just another typical breakfast at the Tenkawa residence. Oh, think about it. It's a little strange, huh? We're not even family. Though, we're all sharing meals at the same table, none of the people here were related. The only family Natsuhiko had was his mother. His father passed away before Natsuhiko could remember. His mother worked hard to support them to the point she became a serious workaholic. She spent most of her time at work, seldom returning home. As Natsuhiko sat lost in thought, a concerned voice called out to him. Huh? Hikarin? You barely touched your food. Does your tummy hurt? No, I'm fine. I just wanted to savor the food as I ate. Really? That's good. This girl's name was Yuri Kotono. She was Natsuhiko's childhood friend, and 2 years his senior. She started living in this house with Natsuhiko long ago due to extenuating circumstances. They grew up like siblings, and even today they seem like real family members. Yuri was the kind of girl who would always worry about Natsuhiko, almost to a fault. I might not look it, but I got a sturdy body, and I've always got a healthy appetite. And with that declaration, he stuffed his cheeks with bread, causing a different cheerful voice to chime in this time. Oh, I like how you eat, Natsuhiko. Makes all that effort worth it. This girl's name was Mashiro Toba. She didn't exactly live with Natsuhiko. She was another one of Natsuhiko's childhood friends, but she only started having breakfast here about half a year ago. In the absence of his mother, Natsuhiko generally did most of the chores in the Tenkawa residence. But skillful and adaptable as he was, even Natsuhiko had something he wasn't good at, and that something was cooking. Prior to Natsuhiko entering high school, a commuting housekeeper had prepared his meals, but this spring she had to resign for personal reasons, and that's when Natsuhiko's mother asked Mashiro to help prepare breakfast and dinner since they lived in the same neighborhood. Natsuhiko bowed his head to Mashiro's words and muttered softly, "But still, sorry for making you do this all the time, Mashiro." "What do you mean? Your mother pays me after all, so it's kind of like a part-time job. And besides, it's not like I do it for you or anything. If I had to say, I'd do it more for Yuri. Right, Yuri?" I'm happy to hear that, but... Oh, I see how it is. Well, I don't care either way, as long as I get to eat delicious food. And then, as if to interrupt their peaceful chit-chat, an unsettling voice rang out. Next on the news. Last night, a fire broke out at the BC Development Center, a research facility in Rokume City. 6 research buildings burned down. A fire? Suddenly, silence spread across the dining table, but the newscaster continued matter-of-factly. At the time of the fire, several staff members and researchers were inside the facility. But the fire department rescue squad was dispatched and fortunately brought everyone out alive. Everyone was saved. That's great. Oh, yeah, I guess. Huh? That's an uncaring thing to say. Oh my god. You're so cold, Natsuhiko. You think so? Nothing really productive happens if you let things on the other side of the TV screen get to you, does it? But it did happen in this town, so you can't really say we're completely uninvolved. Things have gotten dangerous around here lately. Like, some sort of incident's just waiting to happen. You're overthinking things. I'm sure this town's safe. The town they lived in was quite good about public order. It was unthinkable that any of them would get caught up in an incident. However, at that time, Yuri shook her head and quietly spoke. Hikarin, you shouldn't let yourself become too careless. Huh? Dreadful incidents don't just happen on the other side of the TV screen, you know. After all, something completely unexpected could happen to you too, Hikarin. Natsuhiko's expression stiffened upon hearing such an ominous prediction. No way. He tried to say that, but his voice wouldn't come out. Dreadful incidents don't happen twice. His peaceful days would continue forever, without even the slightest disturbance. At least, that's what he'd always thought. Yet a disturbance was exactly what Natsuhiko suddenly noticed out of the corner of his eye. His prized watch from years ago had broken sometime when he wasn't looking. Why? When did it... Natsuhiko was still unaware of why that watch of his had broken. The watch dial read 9:16, 6:19. That was the time Natsuhiko's watch broke. Oh no. We apologize for interrupting you so early on, but there are no choices in this world. Regardless, we need your power to link this world to the future. So the Sensor's Sympathy System, SSS, has been prepared in order to allow you to willingly influence the world. This tutorial will explain the SSS to you. But before that, let's explain what we mean by senses here. Senses refer to impressions, emotions, sensations in this context. Put it simply, it's your assessment of how you feel about someone else. In other words, if their senses are high, you have a good impression of that person. But on the other hand, if their senses are low, that means you have a bad impression of that person. And the senses sympathy system exists to quantify your senses and reflect them on the world. Now then, let's explain how to change the value of your senses. In specific scenes, a graphic that looks like a magic seal will appear in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. This is known as an enneagram. An enneagram is a kind of personality assessor that categorizes people into 9 different personality types. Each of the 9 main characters of the story have been categorized into these 9 types. Thus, the 9 characters have been distributed onto the 9 points of the enneagram. A graph similar to a radar chart is displayed on the top of the enneagram. This graph is a symbol that represents senses. The shape of the graph corresponds to the 9 characters, and its shape will change as you alter their senses. You can input the senses of 9 characters, which includes the protagonist. Thus, in a sense, you may also set the senses you have for yourself. In such an instance, you determine whether or not you have the confidence in your instincts and opinions. Alternatively, you determine how much you value yourself. Sense Sympathy System. Truly a system where you determine the protagonist's various sensations, senses, each time. Your senses will be used to determine which scenario divergence you will travel down at fixed divergence points. At divergence points, the story automatically diverges in accordance to the level of your senses. Okay, I get it. So there are choices. Kind of. You can't simply input your senses whenever you want. You can only do that at sections known as branches. When you arrive at a branch, the enneagram will appear in the upper right-hand corner. Please check if the enneagram is displaying or not to determine when you can and can't input your senses. Allow us to explain in detail through example. Let's play a demo scenario branch while you actually control the system. First, please take a look at the next scene. The senses input hasn't appeared yet, so please just play through the text as you normally would. Alright, here we go. It's tutorial time, baby. In a certain boy's house, a TV and game console was sitting in a neat and tidy living room. Just then, a girl came down from the hallway and spoke in an inquisitive voice. Hey, what you doing? Huh? You're playing a game tutorial? Oh my god, this is getting meta. Is it really important? I see, you must be real busy, huh? Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something, but this is a bad time, isn't it? The girl looked at you hopefully as she said that. Oh, I'm sorry, it looks like I'm just bothering you, so I'll ask you later. No, don't worry about it, it wasn't all that important. Okay then, good luck with that game tutorial. The girl slumped her shoulders with disappointment, and she left the living room with a lonely step in her gait. Aww. This was an example of an occasion when your senses for that girl were low. Now then, let's play the scene one more time with the goal this time being to make the girl happy. There'll be a branch this time, so you can input your senses there. When you arrive at a branch, the enneagram will appear in the upper right-hand corner. Please increase your senses for the girl before the enneagram disappears. When the senses light up, click on it to bring up the senses input screen. You can also bring up the input screen by pressing the V button. When you click the senses, you'll arrive at this screen. This is the senses input screen. Use the cursor to choose whose senses you'd like to change. Bring it to the knob directly below them, and then change their senses. Okay. Click the decide button to set your values, and finish the input process. You can only do senses input one time per branch. You can't input again if you change your mind after you've decided, so please be careful. Alright, I'm ready. Hey, what you doing? Huh? You playing a game tutorial? Is it really important? Oh, we can just crank it all the way up. Accept. Yes. I see, you must be real busy, huh? Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something, but this is a bad time, isn't it? The girl looked at you hopefully, she said that. So you... Huh? You'll listen? Really? Is that okay? Yay, thank you. Well, you see, today is a holiday known as Tanabata. And, you know, if you write your wish on a strip of paper called a Tanzaku today, it'll be granted. So I was thinking that we need to make preparations for it right now. The girl then started talking happily about the bamboo trees that are set up on the Tanabata. Congratulations, you've successfully raised the girl's favour. In this example, the girl had 2 different reactions, but there may be more depending on the situation. Also, there isn't always just one senses target. If there's ever more than one target you'll need to take into consideration, you'll have to reevaluate your senses for them individually. In these situations, you can input for more than one character. But the only ones whose senses you can input are those who are involved with the next branch. You cannot alter the senses for an unrelated character. There will occasionally be times where senses hold a greater importance than usual. As such, there are 3 different sense colours, each one corresponding to the importance of the upcoming branch. Blue. This signifies an event where you can probably influence a target's favour. A blue branch, as it's known, is generally not all that important. You don't even need to change your sense every time it comes up. All you have to do is change it whenever your impression of the target alters. But if you neglect too many blue branches, it could have dire consequences for you further down the line. Yellow. This generally signifies an event where you can probably influence someone's actions. A yellow branch, as it's known, is generally very important. Expect them to signify big changes, such as changing your destination or travel partner. They're not dangerous, but it's best that you change your senses to reflect your intentions at these points. And though it's rare, a yellow branch can signify that a branch of grave danger is approaching, so please be careful. Red. This signifies grave danger. A red branch, as it's known, is of the utmost importance. Decide incorrectly, and you will find death lying in wait for you. Keep your eyes peeled to avoid danger. Please check your senses immediately to ensure there are no problems. Also, branches directly related to the story's conclusion will be red. We recommend you exercise cautious judgment there in the same way. This concludes the Sympathy System explanation. Your senses will change the situation in various ways. Now then, let us return to the world. When time starts again, a sense input will appear right away. Oh, can I quick save? The enneagram will be glowing blue. However, the girl's favour toward the boy is very important to him. A tragic result may await in the worst case scenario. Please look over the situation calmly and select your sense carefully. We're expecting your feelings to have a good effect on this world. Man, I hope so. Quick save. When did his watch break? What was the meaning behind Yuri's cryptic message? Natsuhiko thought for a moment in bewilderment, but eventually just shrugged. You're such a worrywart, Yuri. Huh? That's okay, nothing scary's gonna happen, okay? I'm not the same guy I was in the past. I don't plunge headfirst into danger. You're right. I'm sorry. I just kinda get anxious when I see gloomy stories on the news like that. Now, it's nothing to worry about. As he spoke, he glanced at his watch and was taken aback. What? He could have sworn he saw his watch was broken just a second ago. But on closer inspection, the dial was unscratched, and the hands were ticking away as usual. 9:10, 6:49. There was nothing strange about the time displayed either. Guess I was seeing things. It seemed a bit strange, but he had no other explanation. When Natsuhiko and Yuri exchanged smiles, a slightly exasperated Mashiro chimed in. Alright, so we can just crank them to the max. Bam. What are you two muttering so seriously about? It's so early in the morning, let's keep the conversation bright and cheerful. When he heard Mashiro's suggestion, Natsuhiko declined. Now, what's wrong with a solemn morning every now and then? Oh, but that's kinda depressing. Mashiro seemed a little dissatisfied, but, well, Yuri's a little depressed too, so what can I say? With that thought in mind, he let her be. And thus, their breakfast quietly came to an end. After breakfast, Natsuhiko quickly got dressed. He grabbed his bag, turned on his lights, and bade farewell to Yuri, as she was staying at home. Bye, Yuri. We're off to school. Watch over the house for us, okay, Yuri? Have a nice day. And with that farewell, Natsuhiko and Mashiro left the house. As they got outside, a cool breeze brushed against their cheeks. Aw man, looks like the weather's getting perfect for walking, huh? Yeah, feels like the fall will be soon upon us. A day like this would be perfect for a leisurely stroll to school through the breeze, but a quick glance at his watch told Natsuhiko that they only had around 5 minutes to make it to the bus stop in time. Crap, we're going to be really late at this rate, you know? No way. Let's run for it, Natsuhiko. Yeah. Natsuhiko and Mashiro broke off in a mad dash to the bus stop closest to Natsuhiko's home. Along the way, they spotted the bus already at the stop. Mashiro, hurry or the bus will leave us behind. But just after Natsuhiko said that, the bus had already begun to depart. They need to get on that bus or they'll be late for sure. Hey, hold on a second, driver, sir. Natsuhiko's yelling fell on deaf ears and the bus began to speed away. Well, I guess it's not like he could hear me. Mashiro, what it? Natsuhiko turned to Mashiro and immediately held his tongue. You'd thought she was running along behind him, but she was instead standing with her eyes closed and her index finger to her temple. Hey, Mashiro, you're not... 1 second, I'm concentrating. Mashiro said thus, and the very next moment... Stop? A voice rang out in all directions that seemed loud enough to reverberate the very core of one's mind. The birds in the trees flew away all at once. A dog basking in the sunny sidewalk leapt to its feet and scurried away in surprise. And finally, the bus that had left the two far behind suddenly braked. Whew, looks like he heard, huh? Sure did. Natsuhiko held down his ears as he spoke. He felt like his eardrums were still shaking from that loud voice earlier, but... Oh wait, it's got nothing to do with my ears. That voice was reverberating directly in Natsuhiko's brain. Mashiro, you used BC, didn't you? BC is the ability to communicate ideas directly to someone else's brain. A power one must never use recklessly. And yet in light of an accusation of said reckless use, Mashiro nonchalantly replied, well, if our voices couldn't reach him, why not directly appeal to his heart? If you catch my drift. No, I do catch your drift there, but I mean, you can't go making mass untargeted transmissions like that. It's not like I had a choice, our attendance record was on the line then. Oh boy, don't come cry to me if you get arrested for violating regulations. Don't worry about it. They won't bother punishing a violation that minor. Natsuhiko and Mashiro rushed to the stopped bus as they had that exchange. And 20 long minutes after they narrowly managed to board the bus, Natsuhiko and Mashiro arrived at their school, Rokume Academy. A large-scale school incorporating elementary school all the way to high school. As they passed through the gate, Mashiro asked Natsuhiko a question. What do we have first period? Parapsychology? Ugh, we have to move classroom first thing in the morning. What's wrong with that? I thought you loved BC lessons. And with that exchange, Natsuhiko and Mashiro entered the school building. First period, parapsychology. Man, we never had parapsychology at my school. A particularly important part of Rokume Academy's curriculum, its lessons take place in a special BC room. The course teacher, Ina Tsubakiyama, stood at the podium with her pointer directed at the screen. As the ages change, so too do humanity's means of communication. This lecture again. Professor Tsubakiyama really loves this story, huh? Ina would often tell stories about BC like this, however today's story was unusually basic information. Long ago, the humans who communicated their ideas through mere actions and gestures eventually developed the spoken word. Then writing was born, and not long afterwards the printing press, the telegraph, the telephone, and the internet. A communication evolution, so to speak. But at the turn of the century, human communication came upon a major upheaval. Indeed, as you all know, the upheaval was the discovery of BC. Ina controlled the computer as she spoke, and text appeared on the screen. Beyond communication, a new method to convey ideas without the use of language as an intermediary. People of the past would simply write it off as ESP, wouldn't they? However, this is no matter of the occult. The word occult itself is derived from the Latin word for conceal or hide. Such a widely accepted phenomenon can no longer be considered part of the occult. Ina was exactly right. People who can use BC, popularly known as communicators, have made their existence known worldwide for the past 16 years or so. The historical turning point was in 2014, the year BC's existence was more or less proven scientifically. And just like clockwork, several communicators started to be born worldwide that same year. The new text appeared on the screen as Ina spoke. 2014 was the year Natsuhiko and Mashiro were born. Society transformed in many ways in the following years, but Natsuhiko was not quite sure of the details. I've heard humans don't remember things that don't interest them. I guess it's true. Yeah, that is true. In stark contrast to Natsuhiko's listlessness, Ina continued her eloquent lecture. Now then, there are two abilities available to communicators. The first is telepathy, the ability to convey one's ideas to others. This ability was discovered directly following the Grand BC discovery 16 years ago. The second is empathy, the ability to read the minds of others. The existence of this ability was proven the following year. Quite a few of you can use telepathy, right? The number of telepathy users have been growing each year. In Japan specifically, the rate of new communicators' discovery has grown consistently over the past 16 years. This is truly an example of the Japanese... Natsuhiko glanced at Mashiro as he turned a deaf ear to Ina's lecture. The ability Mashiro used to stop the bus early this morning was a prime example of telepathy. But the extent of the ability she used there was not at all uncommon. The Esper's Nest, huh? Natsuhiko sighed as he recalled the honourable yet somehow odd nickname given to his skill. BC is a convenient ability to have, but to master it requires a bit of practice. And so in recent years it was decided that a school would be established for the technical training of communicators to improve their abilities. In other words, it was to be a school meant solely for communicators. That school was the very same school Natsuhiko attended, the parapsychology specialty school, Rokume Academy. Rokume Academy is integrated from elementary to high school in order to provide special education for gifted children starting at a young age. And naturally, its curriculum includes a great number of BC-related classes. Acceptance to Rokume Academy requires BC aptitude. Every year when new students enter the school, the principal makes this speech. You all have passed a rigorous selection process and may now consider yourselves part of the BC elite. Elite, huh? Natsuhiko coldly pondered the principal's words. Once Natsuhiko finished his little recollection, Ina's voice finally reached him again. And actually, Japan was the first country to advance training initiatives. A grand slam for the country, if I must say so myself. As a direct result, there's been widespread... Eventually, out of the entire class of bored students, a few began to call out with wry smiles on their faces. Teach, don't you think today's introduction's a bit too basic for us? I don't think there's a single student in this school that doesn't know this already. Yeah, I'd rather hear more of your usual BC knowledge. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess I got a bit carried away. I was up late last night watching a documentary on the birth of BC. Ina cleared her throat and erased the text on the screen, somewhat sadly. Now then, let's leave the lecture at that. How about we start practical lessons now? Let's partner up, everybody. And with that, the students turned to their neighbours like usual. Which is why students often sat next to people they were close to in this class. Now then, class, start practicing. At that signal, everyone began practicing at once. And immediately the noisy whispers of telepathy filled Natsuhiko's head. If these whispers were to reach other classrooms, they'd be a nuisance. However, the BC room's walls used a material that dampened the conduction of telepathy, allowing the students to practice without worrying about their noise. Okay, I guess I'll try it out too, Mashiro. When Natsuhiko turned her way and said this, Mashiro couldn't help but curl her lips into a dauntless smile. Oh, are you challenging Miss Level 3 Mashiro to a BC competition? Why do you always have to make it into a competition? This is just practice, you know. But I've long since mastered telepathy, you know. You're the one who needs practice, right, Natsuhiko? I'll be your practice partner, so hit me with your best shot. Hey, come on. You're so full of yourself. Natsuhiko closed his eyes and put a finger to his temple. This posture is key to facilitating the use of telepathy. It's the same technique Mashiro used when stopping the bus. Damn it, Mashiro. Get off that high horse. Natsuhiko brought those words to mind. He then searched around for Mashiro's brainwaves and concentrated hard to get her to hear his voice. So, did you hear me? Natsuhiko opened his eyes to see Mashiro grinning at him. Loud and clear. You're oh so very cute, Mashiro. So lovely. Super kawaii and such. I see, so whatever I think, you hear the exact opposite. Looks like we just discovered a brand new ability. Huh? The exact opposite? Well, in any case, telepathy's just too hard for me. I still don't feel like I can do it. Hey, it's too early to give up. It's not like you can expect to suddenly run before you can walk, you know? Look, it's not a simple issue of effort. I'm just not cut out for it. Natsuhiko was incapable of the fundamentals, short-distance telepathy with a familiar target. In the 6-level system of ability ranking, his was the lowest at level 0. An extreme oddity for students of this skill. But suddenly a voice of concern called out to them. Oh, but I think Mr. Tenkawa's got the talent, you know? Oh, so you think so too, Miss Ina? But personally, I don't think I do. But your aptitude measurement from childhood was quite high, wasn't it? Yeah, but even he found that a mystery himself. Latent BC talent could be quantified through genetic analysis. This measurement was called aptitude and was broken down into 6 ranks: E, D, C, B, A, and S. And for some reason, Natsuhiko's aptitude was top class at rank S. But despite his aptitude, his talent was non-existent. And he wasn't just teased once or twice about it. Which may or may not be a factor as to why Natsuhiko thoroughly hated his use of BC now. I'm thinking maybe the aptitude test was just wrong somehow. That can't be. Aptitude is determined from birth and stays the same your entire life. It's never changed from rank S despite all the tests you've had each April, has it? Well, guess not. Secretly, that wasn't the whole truth, but it was a long story, so Natsuhiko just left it at that. Even I'm just rank B. Theoretically, you should have more talent than me, Natsuhiko. Well, talent doesn't necessarily translate to ability, you know. What are you saying? Be more confident in yourself. I've never seen another rank S student besides you, Mr. Tenkawa. You're too soft on Natsuhiko, Miss Ina. You shouldn't coddle him like that. Now, don't say things like that. I love all my students equally, you know. Though I do admit I'm quite intrigued by the disparity between Miss Tenkawa's aptitude and ability. Natsuhiko inadvertently looked away as soon as he saw Ina's teasing smile. Ina had only started teaching here since April, but she was a good teacher with devotion to her students and enthusiasm for education. She seemed particularly fond of Natsuhiko and always looked after him like this. I know she's not trying to be mean, but I really don't like it when people bring up the topic of BC. You're at a BC school, of course everyone's going to bring up the topic. Anyway, you're just a late bloomer, Mr. Tenkawa. Try hard, and get Miss Toba to teach you. Leave it to me, Miss Ina. I'll slap some sense into him. But please be gentle. And thus, Natsuhiko and Mashiro practiced telepathy for a while. But as always, Natsuhiko showed no signs of a breakthrough. And the end of class drew near. Having been Natsuhiko's practice partner for his entire school career, Mashiro was stumped. Looks like today's no good either. Yep, no good. You're always so unmotivated, Natsuhiko, even though you got such a cute practice partner. You say so, but you know, telepathy isn't really all that useful to begin with. Come again? That's an unbecoming statement for a student of this school. I mean, look, if you want to convey ideas to others, why don't you just speak to them verbally? At best, you can use it to communicate with someone further away, but... Tisk, tisk, tisk. You really don't get it, do you, Natsuhiko? Your voice isn't the only thing you can convey with telepathy. You can even convey thoughts and emotions that can't be put into words. I know that, but is it even really that useful? I just don't get it. I mean, there'd be no language barrier then, right? If you're conveying thoughts directly. So it wouldn't matter where you're from or what your native language is. Everyone could communicate with everyone. Ah, geez, but have you no sense of wonder? Fine, in that case, let me give you a little first-hand demonstration. Mashiro put her fingers up to her temple, exasperated. Huh? No, you really don't have to. The moment those words left Natsuhiko's lips, Mashiro's voice rang through his head. You keep ogling, Miss Ina. Cut it out already. How do you expect to practice when you're that distracted? Along with hearing Mashiro's words, Natsuhiko felt her emotion, anger, and resentment. You saw that? Yeah, so much that I'm starting to realize how stupid it was of me to practice with you. I see, I'm sorry about that. I wasn't really aware I was doing it myself. I guess older women are one of my weaknesses. The moment that thought passed through Natsuhiko's mind, Ina stood at the podium and spoke. Now then, everyone. It's just about time for class to end. I mean, look at her. I'm not blaming him. Look at her. Anyway, how was practice today? Any good results? I guess. My point-blank range telepathy is pretty much perfect now. Candid answers flew across the room from all directions. Ina smiled and addressed her students. Sounds like everyone's walking at their own pace, but for those of you who aren't seeing much improvement, there's no need to rush. BC mastery takes time, after all. However, regardless of your ability level or total practice time, there's one thing I can say with certainty. The most important thing for BC is, without a doubt, concentration. Unlike the other 5 senses, you need to concentration that transcends common sense if you want to draw out the 6th sense. But I am trying to concentrate. Oh boy, you seem quite lacking in concentration, mused. Ina smiled and replied, It can't be half-hearted concentration. It's said that the concentration necessary for BC use is so extreme that it causes the 5 senses to dampen and turn. In certain cases, even vital signs like body temperature and pulse can drop. Once you reach that state of concentration, a new power will awaken in your brain, opening the door to the world of BC. Upon hearing that statement, Natsuhiko secretly thought to himself, Concentration, huh? That's the one thing I lack the most of in this class. The moment he thought that was right around the same time the dismissal bell rang. Okay, that's the end of today's BC class. Good work, everybody. Later, after second period, lunch break started and Mashiro called out to Natsuhiko. So who are we messing with? Yuri and Mashiro. But they're both maxed out already, so we're good. Right? Who's this one? Or is that me? I think that might be me. Actually, we're going to wrap this one up here because we're out of time for today, otherwise I'll be going on for ages. And in the next one we'll do the senses thing and we'll carry on from there. Interesting indeed. I hope I picked the right one to start with. The before as opposed to the after. It just makes sense chronologically speaking, but maybe I fucked things up. Let me know anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.